Hello, hello, and welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. So welcome to your Ignite Your Inner Dazzle. And today is, what is today? Today is April 7th, 2021, and I am Reverend Lisa Williams, and I am here to talk with you about your inner dazzle. So my question for you today is your life a struggle? Are you feeling like you need a spiritual awakening? Are you having challenges in your life and you just can't figure out how to fix it? Well, I have some answers for you. So I am here today to talk with you a little bit about that. So we have definitely, I'd like to say welcome, welcome. Hi out there. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Facebook and YouTube. Thank you guys for being here. So what I'm here to talk to you about is your inner dazzle. So you probably ask me, what is your inner dazzle? What is my inner dazzle? Well, that is that innermost part of you that is completely connected, that comes from the heart. It's that part of you that is joyous and happy and harmonious. And that is the part of you that I am here to help you connect with. And when you connect with it, you live from a life of integrity, you live from a life of authenticity, and you live a life of joy and happiness. And so that's what we're here today to connect with. So I have a question for you. So is your life a struggle? Are you feeling like that things just aren't going your way and you want to know why and how you can do it differently? That's the question for you. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling like things are going with the flow? You feel like you're in alignment with who you are and what your purpose is? Well, if you are feeling at all like you're not, today is the day for you to be join with me on that journey. So how do you view the world? That is a question for you. So how do you view the world? Do you feel like, are you a person that lives maybe with the cup half full or the cup half empty? Do you come from a place of just being positive and being open to what comes your way and looking at the bright side of life? Or do you come from, when you get out of bed, are you like, well, this day sucks and I don't know what I'm going to do, today, and I don't know how today is going to go. So if you come from that perspective, then that's definitely something that we need to look at. We need to take a look at how you think and what you do and your actions. So, do you feel like, do you ever feel like when you look out into the world and situations that come up, do you feel like it's always maybe somebody else's fault? Why something happened to you? Like, well, they did that to me, or that happened because of them, or my boss is just stupid, or, did you come from that perspective? Or did you come from a perspective of knowing that life comes our way and we need to learn how to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings and learn how to control our emotions, and then we can have a better life, a better experience? Do you feel like maybe nobody cares about you, or that you really have no purpose here on this planet, or you don't really know why you're even here? You're just kind of moving along. Well, I have some suggestions for you on how to turn that around, and that I'm excited to talk to you today about it. So the good news for you is that, do you know that there is more to you than just your physical body? Do you know that about you? There's not just you as the person in the skin. There is a lot more to you, and we are here today to discover who that is and what your purpose here is on this planet. So we have an outer self, which is our human self, and we also have an inner self. That is our divine self. That is our inner dazzle. That's the part of us that is connected to that higher source, to that divine power that lives and breathes within us. And so when we come from that perspective and we find ways to connect to that, we then can live a more joyous and harmonious life, bringing more peace into your life, more love into your life. That's what we're here to do. So if you feel like your life has been a struggle and you aren't sure why, and you can't figure out how to get out of that rut, out of that routine, what we're going to look at today is, number one, how we look at the world. In what ways do we look at the world? Do we look at the world as the glass half empty, half full? And also we have a way to connect to our higher self, and that's through spirituality, which is what we do here on New Thought Media Network. This is the network that you are on, and we are broadcasting, and we do a lot of wonderful things. We come from a new thought perspective, And I talk about in our morning prayers, I'm one of the prayer people, and I talk about ancient wisdom and new thought. We put those together, and it's a beautiful faith and philosophy that we live by. And it comes from an affirmative perspective, which is super fantastic, because when we come from that perspective, you'll see and you'll notice that you create a lot more good in your world by doing that. And coming from a mindful perspective makes a huge difference. So I have some ideas for you today. So let's see. Let me think. Let me look at my notes real quick. So as we're learning about discovering our spirituality, talking about the inner self and the outer self, it's about discovering your spirituality, and that's what we're here to do today. And one of the ways that this worked for me, of course, I was kind of in that same path of, I was just going along, and I just had kind of miscellaneous jobs, and I really wasn't happy with what I was doing, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this forever, and when is my life going to turn around, and when am I going to be happy and successful? And so that was back when I went to the School of Ministry, and before that, I went into a program called practitioner training, and that was to become a spiritual counselor. And so the cool thing about that is, even though it's designed to move you toward being a spiritual counselor to help other people, I went in to just learn and how to help me, because I was coming from a place of not feeling good about myself, no self-esteem, not happy with my life. My mother had died a few years ago, and I was just in a really bad place, and I felt really lost without her. So when I went to this program, the practitioner training, I learned how to dive into my spirituality, which I didn't even know I really had one. And there is a spiritual self. There is that spiritual self. So that's when I discovered mine. So I invite you to think to yourself, have I discovered my spirituality, or do I want to discover my spirituality? It's a great question to ask yourself. And let us know in the chat if you have any comments on that. So you might ask, well, why is it important to have a spiritual practice? Why is it important to have a spiritual life? The quote I have for you, and that is, let me see. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yay. Thank you, Gina. The exploration unfolds and spiritual growth occurs when we begin to evolve our sense of who we are and what life is all about. And this quote is by Jonathan H. Ellerby, and he's a PhD. He's a very, very wise man. So that is the quote I have from him. And then I'm going to move on, and I have his book here. We're going to talk more about that. On page 34, I have a little thing I want to read to you. So when we talk about discovering our spirituality and discovering who we are as a spiritual being, he says this: a simple story about the stars says so much about the power and the importance of a spiritual life. It allows us to live by what matters most and not the moment-to-moment reactions and distractions that we're prone to. Spiritual experiences and practices can be like guiding stars, providing a kind of clarity and orientation which we make our most crucial decisions. And that impacts everything and every part of our being. That impacts the aspect of our health, from our physical conditions to our emotional well-being. It helps with our relationships and in the way that we use our time and the way that we treat ourselves. And isn't that important, how we treat ourselves? With each conclusion we come to along the way, we test, try, and recommit to the questions again and again, checking our choices. The exploration unfolds, as I mentioned, the spiritual growth occurs, and we begin to evolve our sense of who we are and what life is all about. So that is what we're here today to do, is to discover a little bit more of that. Ooh, fix my screen a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about this very special book that I am reading right now, and it is called A Return to the Sacred. Here it is. Thank you, Gina. A Return to the Sacred. This book is the ancient pathways to the spiritual awakening. And again, this is by Jonathan Ellerby. He's a PhD. So this book is fantastic. I'll tell you, I'm really learning a lot about this book. I actually host a book club with another part of my ministry, and we are reading this book. So it's been absolutely just a godsend, a gift. It's got some wonderful techniques and some wonderful tools and ways to connect to our spirituality. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about. He talks about the 12 master paths and the 12 roads to spiritual awakening. So if you ask yourself, well, I don't even know how to begin to be a spiritual person or have any kind of spiritual anything. Well, the nice thing about this book, he lists everything out for us so we can actually go on some spiritual paths and discover how we are and who we are as a spiritual being. And that's really important to your well-being and your peace and harmony and your success in your life. So it's really great that you're taking the time to check this out. So my first tip would be about looking at your spiritual practices. So I'm going to list all of these spiritual practices really quick. Let's see. Where do we have that? Oh, here it is. There we go. So the 12 master paths. So just kind of an overall view, we have the body-centered practice. We have a mind-centered practice. There is also a heart-centered practice. And there is a soul-centered practice. So they are all definitely very important, for sure. And Jonathan goes on to say, let's see, he talks about the 12 master paths. He said they can also be organized and understood according to the 4 spiritual personalities. So all those that I described are actually like a spiritual personality. And of course, we all have personalities, right? And so this is our spiritual personality. So it's another piece to our bigger selves, to our inner self. So when we connect with these different things, we discover who we are as a spiritual person. He says all practices have the potential to lead a person to fully awaken spiritually. That's what we want. This is the good stuff. History has shown that the mystics have borne each of and every one of these pathways. If applied with a healthy intention, they can lead to lasting change and transformation. That's what we're looking for. That's what I was looking for, was some kind of a change in my life. I didn't even know that I was going to have a transformation, but I definitely was open to having some kind of change to experience a better way of living. So that's what spiritual growth is all about. So let's see. I'll just think about it. Think about which one you might be out of the list that I gave you. I'm going to just show you real quick one more time. So think about which one you might be. Are you a body-centered practice kind of person? Or are you in your mind or heart or your soul? Definitely asking you, which one do you think you are? So I'm just going to go super briefly through what we're going to go through the next 4 weeks. We're doing the series on this book, so we're going to go into all the different type of practices. So today we are just going to talk about the body-centered practices. Sorry. So the first one is ceremony and ritual. Let's see, ceremony and ritual. There we go. The pathway of ceremony and ritual. So I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about that. So ceremony and ritual. So let me look here. I wanted to read just one little piece and then talk to you about it. Ceremony and ritual. So the idea of ceremony and ritual, of course, a lot of us are probably familiar with a lot of different styles of ceremonies and different rituals in different faith backgrounds and different faith traditions. A ceremony can be as complex as a Native American sundance, a Japanese tea ceremony, or a Catholic mass. The words ceremony and ritual have lost their importance for many people, but yet their power remains available to everyone. Along with the physical objects, places, symbols, and patterns, ceremonies help us engage. And when combined with proper intention and symbolic action, We have the ability to create an integration of body in action. So that's where the body-centered ones are really great, because they come from our body can absorb and begin to experience that spiritual experience. He says the integration of the body, the heart, and the mind, and the soul, that is the sacred. So that was a really cool thing. I wanted to talk to you about that. So I'm just asking you, so are there any spiritual practices that you already do and that you enjoy? You can certainly share those with us. Share them in the chat if you'd like. I always like hearing from you guys. So the second one would be, number 2 is sacred movement. So that's, of course, really fantastic and so important. Sacred movement. There's lots of different ways that we can experience sacred movement. Those? Do you experience any of those? I've done a lot of different types, and I've noticed, and as I was asking you, which practice you might be, this one definitely resonates with me the most, is the body center practices, because I like the movement. I like definitely being able to move as a spiritual being, and I'm learning the practice of sitting still as I do meditation, but I really enjoy the body practices because I feel like that really connects my body with my spiritual self and really gets me aligned. And I notice a big difference when I do it versus when I don't take the time to do it. Let's see. So there's lots of different examples. So a few that I have tried is trance dance. It's where it's like they lower the lights and they set the intention, and then you're able to just move and kind of do free dance, and they play some really cool music and you get to just dance around. Conscious dance, it's very similar. They have some programs in Boulder where you can do like chanting and dance circles, universal dance, peace dance, which is beautiful. Of course, if any of you have been to Hawaii, we see the Hawaiians do a beautiful native dance, and they do the chanting and the singing. There's lots of beautiful ways. Nia is another really powerful type of dance that I do, and it's neuro-integrative action. And it's body, mind, and spirit. It integrates those 3 things. Nia, N-I-A. Look that up. Google that because it's fantastic. It's dance. It's like a dance. It's guided, and I love it. I do it a couple times a week. So, and then there's, other ones such as like Native American dance. There's just lots of beautiful cultural dances. And those are all enriched with that spiritual essence. And that's why they do them. And that's what keeps them connected to their faith and their spiritual background, spiritual connection. Those are some great things. So, and then yoga, of course. And I want to read this little thing to you. So physical yoga practices were designed to refine concentration, prepare the body for meditation, to awaken the vital energies of the self. Despite its supplementary nature, its Hindu tradition, the postures of yoga have become a focus of the Western attention above all other aspects. So I think yoga is obviously a beautiful way to experience that movement, the body-centered practice. Okay, and then we have tip 3, which is the third and final one of the day. So we have tip 3 is going to be the path of sacred sound and music. Sacred sound and music. So we have lots of beautiful examples of that I want to tell you a little bit about. For some of you that kind of are steeped in spirituality already, you probably are familiar with, there's lots of different backgrounds. The shamans do drumming. And you can participate in a drumming circle, which is a really fantastic way to center yourself and begin to feel connected. As a youth minister for many years, I would bring a drumming circle to our youth ministry, and the children loved it. Oh my gosh. Kids of all ages and adults, your adult kid really gets engaged and involved by the drumming circle. And actually, I did a summer camp when I was pregnant with my daughter, and it was pretty cool because I could feel her in my tummy moving to the beat of the drumming when we were doing the drumming. It was so cool. She was involved as well. So I definitely could feel it all throughout my body, and it was a really fantastic, beautiful experience. So I invite you to check out drumming circles. There's also, we have Tibetan monks that chant. There's a beautiful way of chanting with the kirtan. There's also, you can listen to gospel singers. If you've ever been to like a Southern Baptist church or a lot of the beautiful religious centers where they have the most amazing music, and the music really takes you to another level, and you can see it and feel it in all of the people singing and within the church, and people are just so moved by this powerful music, gospel music. So the idea is with the music piece is that you want to experience it, you want to feel it. That's the whole point of this particular practice is feeling that sacred movement and the sacred sound that makes it's just a beautiful way to experience it. And I have one other way that I wanted to, let's see. Let me read this to you first. Sorry. Okay, so we have one more little piece. Like the Venda of Africa, all traditions have used sound and music to turn people's attention into the sacred. There's sacred chimes, bells, drums, hypnotic chants, choirs, orchestras, clapping hands, droning tones are used to quiet the mind and evoke deep emotion in the heart. Music infused with meaning, intent, and healing vibration will touch people no matter what their culture is or their beliefs. So that's Jonathan talks about that in here when he talks about that section of the book. When we are focused in the path of the sacred sound and music. And just one of the sounds I wanted to let you experience is a beautiful Tibetan singing bowl that I have. And I just want you to listen to the sound and listen to how the cool thing about this, and I use this in my youth ministry, and we tell the kids, listen to the sound and see how long you can stay focused and listen to the sound even as it gets quiet. So I invite you to try that. I can still hear that. Absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite ways to center and bring myself into a calm place. So I invite you to check out their singing bowls. Okay, so that is what we have for today. Just to review real quick, today was about body-centered practices, and we were focusing on our spiritual practice and how important that is in our life to gain a more harmonious and happy life. Body-centered practice is today's experience for you. So let's see. So I have one more little quote I want to read to you. This kind of wraps everything up about this book. This is a very powerful book, Return to the Sacred, and it is by Jonathan Ellerby, PhD. So I invite you to pick one up if you are curious or want to get on your search for your spiritual paths. There's lots of beautiful paths in here for you. And so one more thing that he says, seemingly weaving his own fascinating experiences with a deep exploration into paths our spiritual masters walked, this timeless book will appeal to anyone seeking a spiritual way of life, the meaning of spirit, or how to walk on their own path with joy and meaning. And that is what life is all about, is experiencing joy and meaning in our life. And that is what your Inner Dazzle is all about, is finding that and connecting to it and expressing our inner dazzle. That is what we're here to do. I'm so blessed to have you with me today. Thank you so much. Join me and connect with me in Facebook, my Rev Lisa page, and Spiritual Resources. If you want to set up a 20-minute free phone call, you can do that, and I'll help get you started and get you on your way. You can email me also at lisa@innerdazzle.com. So I invite you to do that and come and join me and check it out, and we can work together and help your life move forward in a great way. Let's see. So next week, we will be talking about mind-centered processes. And yes, so visit newthoughtmedianetwork.org and click on the donate. Click on the donate button. We are so grateful for your gifts and your tithes. It helps our ministry grow. So New Thought Media Network is who I'm broadcasting through, and we're really grateful if you can support us. So newthoughtmedia.org, click on donate. You can also, if you are so inspired to support me on my ministry, you can donate on Venmo at RevLisa1. And I am so grateful and appreciate that as well as I am building this ministry, this video ministry. Thank you very, very much, and have a blessed day. Always leave them dazzled by your presence, and know that today is about celebrating the empowerment of you in your exploration as you create and discover your inner dazzle. Thank you so much for being with me today. Peace and blessings, and we'll see you next week for the next part of the book. Take care, and blessings for now.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.